murdered or missing in Canada. A haunting national disgrace with no solution in sight.
Missing or murdered Indigenous women.
Brutally killed and buried in a farmer's field by a man she met on a dating site in 2016. He stabbed her 11 times, slit her throat, smashed her skull, and broke her femur before burying her in a shallow grave east of Winnipeg.
Missing or murdered Indigenous women. Her daughter was murdered in her home in Calgary, and she was led to believe there would be a quick arrest. 13 years later, no one has been charged. Missing or murdered Indigenous women.
Family says the pain only grows and has caused them to lose relationships and motivation in life.
Police now confirmed that they had contact with her on August 8th, but didn't bring her in. On August 17th, her body was pulled from this river.
If officers come across a person that's reported missing, I would expect them to take that person into their care.
Missing or murdered Indigenous women.
After a while, they just become another person that they don't want to deal with anymore. That's pretty much the way it is with dealing with police.
Missing or murdered Indigenous women.
Where are we going? This district. Right?
Good evening, my beautiful crime family, and it's time for the highway that has no end, because it doesn't. It doesn't end in Canada. It goes through the United States, goes into Mexico, goes into every country in this world. The highway that has no end. We're going to be getting into that. I do want to do a quick update. I know how I said I was going to not talk about it tonight, but I do got to do a little update on the Kohberger case, because it's very strong feelings that I have, and I'm going to do that before I get into this. I don't think this case is going to go much further. I really don't. The FBI is not giving the information to Bill Thompson. And there's only a couple of reasons why they wouldn't be doing that. And one of them is that because they got it illegally. All I know is, when you have the FBI that won't hand over information, then believe it, they have every right not to. It's written. So I just don't think it's going to go to trial at all. At all. Because without that, they have nothing. They have nothing. And I don't think they had, and that'd be another reason that they don't handle it, because they don't believe that it proves that Mr. Kohberger is guilty, and they're now siding with the defense. And that very well could be. It could be that they just gave a tip and they didn't say he was guilty. They just said, hey, check this. This guy's got a Elantra, and that might have been all they said. Who knows? I got to put this out here. So I just don't think it's going to go to trial. And sooner or later, Bill Thompson is going to have to admit to that, because they don't only not have anything, the FBI is not going to give them anything. They have nothing. They absolutely have nothing. And I don't know if you've seen what's her name, Andrea Burkhart, the lawyer. She put out a video early today, and you know what she said? She was there, and Twizzlestick was on the other night, and he was there, and he's seen her there, but he might not have seen what happened between Burkhart and Bill Thompson, because she said he looked at her like, you are the enemy. Didn't look at her very nicely at all. So, and that tells me something. That tells me he's got nothing. He's got nothing. And just the way the court case is going, and I think it's closed because they have nothing. And I wouldn't be surprised if out of these hearings coming up that they drop it. Really. It's in my feelings, in my opinion, it's that strong that they have nothing. So anyway, I wanted to get into that a little bit because I think it was important. But what's important tonight is Indigenous women disappearing all over the world at a very high percentage rate compared to other races. And even right here, there's 3 of them missing for years. 2 of them for years and years. And 1 for, I think it's going on 2 years this October. Or it could be 3. I know it's either 2 or 3 years. And I know the mom of her, and Nevaeh Kingbird. And I'm going to be getting into, today is Arizona. So, you know, we went to Canada and stuff. And now we're going to go into Arizona. I'm going to come back up and get close to Canada again, but not Canada. It's going to be like Minnesota and Montana, Idaho, Washington, the Northwest. And then I'll be heading back down again. I'm going to do this as long as I have this channel. I'm going to be putting out these episodes. There might be a long period in between, like a month or something, or even 6 weeks, but I'm going to be putting out episodes covering where the highway has no end, because it doesn't. It doesn't. And they're being trafficked. And it's just sad. So today is in Arizona. But anyway, I want to go and say, oh, geez, 98 comments. You guys are telling of a storm. Good to see you. I'm going to go say hi to my crime family first. And hello, Kathleen. Good to see you, my girl. Deborah Lynn. Always good to see you, my girl. Love Tina. Good to see you, my girl. Jackie Bushable. Good to see you. Rondi. Good to see you. Cindy, good to see you. Debbie Gazzardo, good to see you. Ghost, good to see you. Hope Floats, my girl, good to see you. And Nikki Watson, good to see you. Social Glow, good to see you. Down the rabbit hole to hell, good to see you. Hope Norris, good to see you. And Randy, my brother, good to see you. And Ro, good to see you. Social Glow, good to see you. Nina, good to see you, girl. I did get I think I looked at an email, or did you sent me something? I haven't responded to it yet, though. Love Tina, good to see you. Yeah, okay. Hi to everybody. Tabby Cat, good to see you. It's hard to get everybody sometimes. Nikki, good to see you. Yeah, so anyway, let's get into this Arizona. And yeah, and like I said, it's Minnesota's coming up, and I'm going to do this state. And one person that I do know, and that's Nevaeh Kinward, and that's just it affects me because you know what? It happened like 10 miles from, not even 10 miles from here. I know exactly where it happened. Exactly where it happened. I could go there. Actually, maybe I will. Maybe I will go there and do a live right from where she went missing. And there's been searches and stuff. So yeah, it's been going on for a couple of years. So anyway, I'm gonna get to Arizona.
You hear about all these stories, Lacey Peterson, Gabby Petito.
Right now, we are investigating this in person.
Petito disappeared.
Families desperate to find this missing woman.
But the outpouring of attention and the outpouring of reaction is so different in those cases.
The FBI has now joined
this girl right here. This is what matters. Anything else, it comes second to this.
And it doesn't happen for us.
This is Elizabeth. She's been missing now for 48 hours.
Police are working with the FBI.
There are murdered and missing Indigenous women who just vanish. They disappear, and nobody looks for them.
I was born in Chinle, Arizona. That's where my mom's family is from.
What's it like growing up on the reservation?
It was beautiful. The land was beautiful. It's definitely a lot of driving because everything's so isolated. So I remember growing up, it took a long time to travel anywhere to Chinle or even to the grocery store. It was about an hour away to the kind of main town. For a long time growing up, a pretty typical family. Mom, dad, myself, my brothers, and took trips to Disneyland. And I feel like we actually had a very good childhood growing up till the end. My name is Tiffany Sorrell. I am Laverta's eldest daughter.
Do you remember the day she went missing?
I do remember most of it.
So my name is Valina Guy. Laverta was my older sister.
Valina remembers that day too, in 2002.
It was July 4th.
She was getting ready to head to Texas.
I wanted to call her and let her know that I was getting ready to go and that I'd call her and let her know how things were going once I got there. And she didn't answer.
Valina didn't think much of it at the time. Meanwhile, Laverta's kids were out too.
I drove my brothers to the fair, which is funny because I know I was only 14. We hung out. I was a teenager hanging out with my friends and stuff. You know, I started to kind of lose a little track of time because I was getting a little bit worried, like, oh, I need to get home. We have curfew.
Tiffany's parents, Laverta and Edison, were also out celebrating that night, but for a different reason.
They went to dinner for their anniversary. When we got home, nobody was there. Nobody was home. And so I at that time, I kind of just thought it was a little strange. The next thing I kind of remember, though, is waking up to police officers in my room.
Edison told Tiffany, her brothers, and police that after their anniversary dinner, Laverta asked to be dropped off at work at the Fort Defiance School District around 11:30 p.m.
We went and ate that night, and she kept wanting to leave and leave and leave, and then I just kept telling her, wait till the morning, you know. I said, I can drop you off in the morning. And she said, no, I got to go right now and stuff. But she was adamant about wanting to go that night for I don't know what reason.
Was it normal for her to ask to be dropped off at school, at her office at night?
No. Mm-mm. There was just something that started to go off in my head a little bit. And I was like, why hasn't she called?
She'll be back. Like, I'd just give her a few days, you know? And then she just never returned. That's the story we were told.
That was 21 years ago. 21 years. The average amount of time Native women go missing in Arizona.
It's a crisis and also an epidemic.
It has its own acronym, MMIW, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. It's something Darlene Gomez knows all too well.
I started investigating it, and then someone else went missing. And then someone else went missing, and then someone else went missing. So then that priority becomes the next person that goes missing.
Darlene grew up on a reservation. She's now an attorney by trade. Since 2020, she's worked pro bono for 20 Native families who have missing or murdered loved ones in Arizona and New Mexico.
These families can't barely afford to do flyers for their loved ones and to put gas in their cars to look for them.
What often begins as domestic violence ends in decades-long mystery or death. Darlene says the more you learn about why, the more frustrating it gets.
You may be trying to get a hold of the police, and it may take you 3 or 4 days.
I've heard the stories. I've heard about people making phone calls and not being taken seriously.
Any district at any given time, we may have 2 to 4 officers on shift.
When it comes to investigating these crimes and prosecuting them, those in charge agree too many cases have slipped through the cracks.
Arizona is the 3rd worst in the country for missing and murdered Indigenous people. 3rd worst.
How do you guarantee the people of Navajo Nation that this is a safe place to live when you do have women and girls going missing?
It's going to be a very difficult task to guarantee that right now in this moment in time.
It's the system. The system is broken, and we're a part of that system.
You know it's spiraled out of control when state leaders admit their offices have been part of the problem. And this is the result.
How do you tell little children that their mother is gone? And everybody in town is saying they know who killed her. Or when they say, Miss Darlene, when's my mom coming home? And all you can tell them is like, I don't know.
One of the 20 families Darlene represents, the Sorrell family. That means she knows every detail of the case, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
When did you notice some sort of shift in your parents' relationship or maybe the family dynamic?
It was until middle school, 8th grade around there is when they started to fight a lot. It eventually came out that she was having an affair.
That July 4th anniversary dinner was going to be Edison and Laverta's last.
They eventually sat me down and told me that they were going to get a divorce.
I was talking to her about, why don't we work this out? Why don't we do this? And she told me, she says, I'm afraid of that guy. He can do stuff. And I said, what do you mean by that? She wouldn't tell me specifically. And I told her, what does he mean? Is he threatening you? Is he threatening the kids? And she said, no, he knows stuff.
It was an ominous conversation, but Edison says he knew it didn't matter. Laverta was still choosing another man and would often go spend time with him as he obliged.
This was an ongoing thing for a whole year.
On here. Hello, Am I on here? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Am I on here? Hello? Hello? Okay. So you can hear me? Okay, you can hear me and everything? Okay. All right. But can you hear me? You can see me? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to do something different here. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You would think they'd want that out there, you know, when you don't want. I'm going to write a letter to that station right there, to that station, because they are preventing this news to be getting out there to the public where it needs to be. I don't make any money on this channel. You know what I'm saying? And to block something like that? Are you fucking serious? That pisses me off. Okay. Well, hopefully this one goes through. That's all I can say. That really pisses me off. I didn't think that would happen with this at all. Crazy.
In South Dakota, where there are currently twice as many Indigenous women missing than all other women combined. Here in Rapid City, I'm meeting a private investigator who's looking for one of them.
You know, dead
Oh, that pissed me
Indians down here is the norm, and we're trying to make it not the norm.
Lissa Yellowbird Chase has been searching for missing women for over 13 years. Her past cases have involved everything from runaways, domestic violence to murder. Her work has been crucial to high-profile investigations, including the FBI's prosecution of the 3 men who killed her niece.
What happened just there? He's just interested, probably smelled something he never smelled before. Okay. Well, yeah, when there's a hit, you'll know. You will know.
This week, Lissa is searching for Susan Fast-Eagle, a 30-year-old Native woman who's been missing for 5 months. Susan comes from a nearby Indian reservation. When she visits the city, she spends time amongst the homeless community that live along this creek, where a number of bodies have been found in recent years.
Settle. I don't have no gloves, but there's a piece of clothing in there. Oh, wow, look. Knowing how many of our relatives had died in this creek, I find it intriguing that all this red, like moss or whatever, is lining the creek. It just signifies the bloodshed that was here and how sacred they are to us, and that's why we're here.
Government data on missing Indigenous women is limited. In 2020, around 230 cases were logged by the Department of Justice. In the same year, an NGO estimated that number was closer to 2,300. To those who advocate on behalf of missing women, this is an institutional blind spot that's symbolic of the nation's careless attitude towards vulnerable Native people.
When people think about the people who live in the streets, the general consensus is like, oh, they chose that kind of life. They could get a job like anybody else. They don't think about the trauma.
What impact do you think that has when police are investigating?
This is just the way to shove our people off. Investigations cost money. We'd rather save that for Susie Q down the street, And
when you say that, you mean a white person?
Pretty much.
Lissa's spirited defense of the homeless comes from her own experience of living in the streets. She hears that Susan's mother-in-law is visiting Rapid City for the day, so we cross town to meet her and find out more about Susan's life.
So, where's Susan's family?
Her father passed away maybe 20 years ago, and her mother passed away probably 4 years ago.
And she has one child.
And one child.
That's her teenage daughter.
She's 12 years old.
Yeah, okay.
She's at my house.